Hey, Shalom, Shalom. I want to start off as always by giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Makar, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors to you brothers doing the work in truth while sincerity. This is, it's another one. Annoyingly, I literally just more or less done this video when I realized my microphone wasn't plugged in. So, maybe spirit, maybe I missed something in the spirit. So yeah, just gonna do it again. Right, this is another re on Doctor Who. Right, so this is this episode, brief synopsis. Right, so synopsis. Right, a brief or summary of or general survey of something. Right. So this is a brief synopsis. Is in 17th century Lancashire, the characters became embroiled in a witch trial and the arrival of King James I. Right, now this character here is supposed to be King James, right? And in it they have him acting kind of fruity. Right, first and foremost, we know through the artwork that King James was a so-called black man, right? I'm trying to remember whether it was son King Charles I, whether his son was called Black Boy or Black Charles, something like that. Don't quote me on that, just verify that, but I do believe it was King Charles, King James' son, that was called Black Charles or Black Boy or something like that, right? But in this, this character acts kind of fruity, and he's basically almost trying to flirt with this character here, giving him some kind of looks. Right, but these times this was the king. This was the king of of England, right? And it's playing on that notion that King James was a homosexual, which is not true, right? The scriptures that he left behind, that he authorized to be put together, proof of that, right? So without further ado, so Leviticus 20:13. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Well, because what people also forget, right, in that period of time, is how intertwined the church and the state were, right? So here it is, King James puts together the scriptures, all right, so that the common man can read them, right? But then he's a homosexual, and the common man reads Leviticus 20 and 13. What would you think would have happened to him? Right, they would have had him. They would have made sure this punishment was meet, right? You remember these were the times when people were getting killed for heresy, for this, for that, right? Because they were going against the scriptures, right? Not saying them guys were perfect or whatever, what have you, right? But how is it he's gonna leave Leviticus 20 and 13 in there if he was a homosexual, right? He would have used that opportunity, as I'm going to show you others have done, right? He would have used that opportunity to skew the scriptures such to his favor, right? So it's Leviticus 20 and 13. It says, if a man also lie with mankind, right, as he lieth with a woman, right? And how does a man lie with a woman? Because by popping her, right? It ain't like this world where you might have you might have a male friend and a female friend, in quotes, sharing a bed, not doing anything. Now, this is the ancient world, man. Right? You lying and lying down with a woman, you lying with a to get shit done, right? It says both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them, right? So, God on them, right? It says both of them committed an abomination, right? So yeah, why would this be left in the scriptures if King James was a homosexual? Now I'll give you an example of Jeremiah 14 and 2, right? So we know what that says in the King James. It says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish, they are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Now, one of the things that Esau wants to push and wants the world to believe is that the so-called Jews are, not so-called Jews, the Jews are those gutter rats over there in the land of Israel at the moment, which isn't true. Contrary to the scriptures, they don't fit the prophecies, right? They don't fit the curses don't fit them, right? and they're the rulers of this world. So it says Jeremiah 14:2. In the New International Version, it says Judah mourns, her city's language, they wail for the land, and the cry goes up from Jerusalem. Nothing about being black there. Right, it says New Living Translations, Judah wilts, commerce at the city gates grinds to a halt, all the people sit on the ground in the morning, and the great cry rises from Jerusalem. English Standard Version, Judah mourns, her gates languish, her people lament on the ground. Berean Study, Judah mourns, her gates languish, her people wail for the land, and the cry goes up from Jerusalem. That's the King James. Look for anything that says back. New Heart English Bible, Judah mourns and its gates languish, they sit in black on the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem has gone up. JPS Tanakh 1917 says Judah mourneth, the gates of language, they bow down in black unto the ground. Right, so these guys had the opportunity to tweak things such that it fits their agenda. Right, now if King James, once again posing the question, if King James was a homosexual, why did he not tweak the scripture to fit his agenda? Right? He's the king after all. Right? But he didn't, because he wasn't a homosexual. You're going to understand that these scriptures were, it's the Lord that basically put the spirit on him. What do you call it? To put these scriptures together. Right, because we're reading them to this day. 1611, right? So that's 407 years later. These scriptures are still being read by the hopeful elect, right? So King James wasn't no damn homosexual, man. No, that's just those guys speaking their lies, trying to disprove the scriptures, right? This is also the Reina. This is the Spanish Bible, Reina Valera Antigua, right? It says, I don't speak Spanish, right? But when you see the translation, right, it says Judah mourned and its gates were depopulated. They were darkened to the ground. The cry of Jerusalem rose. Right, the brother in the camp who speaks Turkish, similar issues with Jeremiah 14:2, right? Here, this is the word. Or they darkened in tierra, and I believe tierra is earth, right? So it says they darkened. So that's that translation there that once again not correct, right? This is the Romanian Bible. This is same scripture. This is Judah Jelește, right? Mourns cetățile lui sunt pustite, right? So his cities are desolated, desolate, sad, gloomy, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Right, once again, nothing about being black here, right? Because that doesn't fit the agenda. People have the opportunity to tweak the scriptures to fit their agenda, and they did it. So once again, for like the third or fourth time, I'll pose a question here. King James had the opportunity to tweak it so that it didn't have this in there. So it didn't have these three scriptures in there. But guess what? It's still there. Right? So it's Leviticus 18:22 says, thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination. Right? Now they even quoted this in Family Guy. Right? When you had that character Stewie, who that the baby, right? He's a flaming homosexual, and he was basically saying, no, I'm not going to be gay anymore. And he basically says Leviticus 18:22, and I believe he quotes it. I don't know what version of scriptures he quotes, but I remember watching that time ago thinking, right like that, yeah, right. But this one is quote a bit softer than 20 and 13, because the 20 and 13 goes straight to the point. It says they shall surely be put to death, right? Romans 1:26, right? It says, for this cause the Most High gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change their natural use into that which is against nature. Right? What's the natural use of a woman? To lay down with her and to pop her, and to to bring seed, right? To bring life, and to fulfill what the Lord said when He said, "Be fruitful and multiply." Right? It says, and likewise also, so that goes to show you, Leviticus in 20:13 ain't just referring to men. It's also if a woman laid down with another woman, right? That's madness. You know, what does that bring apart from confusion, disease, and death, i.e. your death? Right. It's yeah, we read that. Yeah, it says, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. Right. So that, you know, they go and get judged however the Lord deems fit. Right, so I'll get this as Psalms 58:3 says, the wicked are estranged from the womb, they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And this is another one of those lies, you know, that Esau, the so-called white man, pushes out, right? You know, to get people to try not to believe in the scriptures, not, you know, to you know, try to say that the scriptures are off, which ain't the case, right? But 2 Corinthians 4:3 says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. Right? So anyone who can't get these scriptures because they weren't meant to get these scriptures, right? That's why we always got to be grateful that we can. And I'll grab this real quick. It says, what is that? Matthew 13:6. 13:6. Where is that? Well, you know, when you know the priest at where Yahweh is basically saying, look, you know, blessed are your eyes for they see, right, and your ears for they hear, because many people read these scriptures, right, and they don't have the understanding on these scriptures, right. But yeah, I mean, as always, Lords, we were edified, you know, to you know, finish off, man. King James was no fucking homosexual, man. Right, you know, and if you're teaching that, you know, you can't be destroyed, man. Right. So yeah, until the next time we say shalom.